new technologies, etc., provide shocks to the system, but over the long run these shocks are going to, let's say, work themselves out, and eventually we'll find our pinballs all at the bottom of these depressions again. So what is the rocking horse telling us about perhaps how the economy works? The first one is that when you see prices move, when you see the price of gasoline or the price of oil or the price of milk move, these are exogenous shocks in the system. And these are propagated, which means they're extended through this system of the rocking horse that will absorb these exogenous shocks. Now, exogenous, for those people who don't speak math, exogenous means from the outside. So like your exoskeleton is your outside skeleton, and your endoskeleton is your inside skeleton. Exogenous means exo, outside, genus, produced by. Genus, think like Genesis, genetic. Okay, where did this shock come from? Endogenous means originating from the inside, or inside the system. There's an endogenous like cause in the system. So these fluctuations are not that the system of supply and demand have changed. It's basically something else has come up and that has moved the system or shooken it around a bit. So exogenous shocks can be supply shortages created by war or famine or the weather. There could be new technology. There could be changes in government policy. For example, the rise in the cost of milk has a lot to do with the government change its policy. It used to subsidize dairies where they would get, let's say, money from the state government, and that would keep the price of milk down. But when the government took away that subsidy to dairies, price of milk went up from, let's say, under $2 to about $3. Same thing with, let's say, if I increase the taxes on gasoline, that would increase or shift up the price of gasoline for the consumer. There can be changes in credit and money, and I'm just going to hand wave here because we'll get more into credit and money later in the course. There could be structural changes in the economy. For example, people shifting from becoming farmers to becoming industrial workers in factories. That could be a shock in, let's say, the demand for different things in the economy. Now, as I said, short run, it might not look like prices are in balance. The price of gasoline on any given day might be moving up, it might be moving down. Over time, it's going to, let's say, look like it's just bouncing around. But what the rocking horse says that it's bouncing around a long-term equilibrium, okay? And that long-run equilibrium is basically the fundamentals. Fundamentally, we know that this is the price of gasoline, or what this should be the price of gasoline, based upon the supply and demand for gasoline in the world or in the market. And this rocking horse is just basically a shock absorber, okay? All these different things could happen. There could be a war in Iraq, which affects, let's say, the supply of oil, which affects the supply of gasoline, which will then work itself out in the supply of gasoline. People will change their buying patterns, people will change their producing patterns, but then eventually the system will be back in equilibrium. The other part to this is that the price system, the actual market, is never wrong, right? It's reacting to real shocks that are occurring. Another idea here is that the economy is basically cybernetic, which means it's self-adjusting and self-regulating. Think of a thermostat, right? Let's say the thermostat is there and then you create a shock, like you open up the window on a cold January day and the cold air rushes in. The thermostat says, oh my gosh, the temperature is dropping. I need to, let's say, pump up the furnace, and it sends the message to the furnace, and the furnace, let's say, produces more heat, and that creates a new balance. Now, the point is that basically you don't have to tell it what to do. You don't have to, let's say, I'm opening up a window, the temperature is going down, press a button and make the furnace work. The thermostat will take care of it for you. And that quality of the thermostat, that it's self-adjusting and self-regulating, is called a cybernetic mechanism. Now, it's not going to adjust perfectly. Sometimes the thermostat's going to overshoot or undershoot, but basically it's over and undershooting around the range that you set it at. And you might also have friction in the system, this idea that you need to go and find what things are worth, something called price discovery. So the prices might jump up or under, trying to find out what the real price is, because maybe people in the market don't know what the price should be. Now, the next model is what we could call the disco model. And if you remember, the disco model is that what the economy is doing is matching up people with another. So once again, we're going to turn to our friends the Peanuts, and they're going to give us a demonstration of how the disco model works. So let's say we have, the 6th grade dance, and all the Peanuts show up. And we have exactly the same number of girls as boys, right? We have 6 girls over here and 6 boys over here, or 5 boys and 1 male appearing dog called Joe Cool. And they get to the party, and everyone's happy because, right, everyone's got a date, everyone's got a dance partner. Charlie Brown and Marcy, Frida and Pigpen, right? Everyone has 100% of, let's say, ending up with someone. Even the ugly people get someone. People might not, let's say, be perfect, but at least everyone finds, it's like musical chairs, but everyone gets a seat at the end. And so they're here, everyone is matching up, and let's say they are partying like it's 1975. So I'm going to click my little, let's say, YouTube video, and we have Peanuts dancing to, dancing in the Christmas special. Everyone's happy. I'll just leave it there. Okay, so we have all our little Peanuts friends, and they're partying like it's 1975. So this should work out, right? And this works out because we have 50% girls and 50% boys. If you look at the axes here, you can see that the girls go from 0 to 100%, and boys go from 0 to 100% out from the origin. And basically, right, when they're 50-50, we have a match. Everyone gets a date. Everyone turns up. Every seller has a buyer. Every buyer has a seller. And that's an equilibrium. Now what you can see I've drawn behind here is this kind of 2 little like double helix lines here. And what you can see is that these lines cross in more than one place. So we're just showing you the first one, which is when there's 50% boys and 50% girls. We have an equilibrium, right? Because everyone's happy. No one has a reason to leave. We're going to have enough buyers to meet all the sellers, enough sellers to meet all the buyers. But you can see though that there's a lot of points of disequilibrium in between. For example, let's say Charlie Brown's arch nemesis shows up, Shermie. Okay, now we have more boys than girls. Now the girls are saying, great, this is wonderful, we have options now. Okay, we don't have to go out that really ugly guy in the corner. I can choose not to dance with him. Right, no one's going to be forced to. But the guys are looking at this like, uh-oh, what happened to our sure thing? Just a second ago, it was 100%, right? Everyone was definitely going to have a dance partner. But now I've gone from 100% to 84%. And Charlie Brown, saying, good grief, woe is me, I'll never forget a date. Pigpen's going, I think my hygienic choices are going to catch up with me. And so what's going to happen is that even though the average has gone down from 100% sure thing to like the 84% possibility of having a dance partner, Charlie Brown and Pigpen probably think my chances are probably really a lot lower than 84%. Okay, and so what they're going to do is decide to leave, and as a result, they're going to exit. And also, for example, the number of girls are going to exit because now some of the guys are left, and now we have 5 guys and 4 girls, sort of the same situation as before. Girls think, oh wonderful, I have options, surplus of boys here, but the boys are saying it's not a sure thing. And so the number of boys has actually gone up to the ratio of girls. And so what you're going to start to see is people leaving as they think, well, I'm not going to be that one person. Okay, I'm not going to be the person standing when the music stops for musical chairs. And eventually, you get a situation where you have 100% boys, i.e. the one boy, Snoopy, and no girls at all. And so now you're up here in this upper right-hand corner where the lines cross again. You could have a stable situation where it's just boys and no girls. And you could also have a situation where it's just girls and no boys. Right? You could have 3 possible equilibriums. But the problem is that this one that we want, the optimal equilibrium, where we have 5 people, right, or 6 people dancing, 6 boys, 6 girls, that optimal equilibrium is very unstable, right? When Shermie showed up, you would have thought this was a good thing, right? Another boy to dance with. and actually destabilizes the whole system, and then kind of jettisons like the system into these stable but suboptimal equilibriums. Right? Once when it's only Snoopy there, or once when there's only one girl there, there's really no incentive for another boy to show up. There's no incentive for another girl to show up. And so you have 100% girls, 100% boys, and that's stable. But it's suboptimal, right? Because everyone's at home crying into their pillows saying, I'll never get a date, no one ever likes me, and no one's going to the party where they could actually go and meet someone. And the foolish thing is that boys are thinking this, girls are thinking this, other people are thinking this, and as a result, right, a lot of people who could have a boyfriend or a girlfriend don't get it because they think, oh, no one ever likes me, why should I even go out and try, I'm just going to sit at home and eat ice cream and cry in my pillow, etc. Well, this is probably fine. If you leave this up to people, the point is that you could get these bad equilibriums. But if, let's say, you had, let's say, a nightclub and you really wanted people to show up because the more people in your nightclub, the more drinks you're selling, the more money you're making, etc., they have something let's call ladies' night, for example. Because the amount of guys that are going to show up might be related to the amount of girls that are going to show up. And so basically we have these ladies' night promotion, which is that women will get free drinks if they show up from certain hours, and that will lead to a female crowd. And then of course more men will show up, and then the bar owner will charge these men double for their drinks, which they're happy to pay for because while they want to drink, they also want to meet, let's say, attractive young women. And as a result, more people and more people end up showing at this nightclub. And for example, you can go from, let's say, that really dingy, dirty, smoke-filled sports bar that will only attract men and no women at all, to kind of the biggest girly bar, which even guys don't want to show up for because even though there's girls there, the aura, the vibe is not so good. So the point is that because these things interact, you can get different levels where supply and demand might cross. So let me just give you another example of the disco model with healthcare. Now, you have two kind of people in healthcare. You have people who want to be insured and people who provide insurance. And people though who, if you have, you can only send, let's say, one price for insurance really, or one price for different pools of people. But some people are a lot more costly. For example, grandma, people with pre-existing conditions, couch potatoes, families with, let's say, some people are healthy and some people aren't healthy, all the way down to the healthiest people, 20-something people who exercise and take care of their health. Now, the people who want to buy insurance, of course, are the people who want to use it a lot. People who are relatively healthy have no reason to buy insurance. They probably have a relatively low risk of needing health insurance, and so they're not going to spend a lot for it. Now, the thing is that it's related to their cost. Old people want insurance because their medical bills are going to be really high, but no insurer wants to sell these people, medical bills. No insurer wants to sell these people insurance because, right, they're going to lose money. Right, I charge you $100 for your insurance policy, but you're going to cost $1,000 in terms of payouts. Now, everyone wants to insure these really healthy people because, right, they might